Guys, I'm the Bearded Devil, and welcome to part 2 of the epic most bestest sugar water experiment of 2020. In the first part, I basically showed you how I did it. I sat there and step by step, the water, the sugar, the items that are in it, everything like that. And just to recap, this is the response to Brandon Toy and the claims that Brandon Toy has made in the presentation at which he, presented them. All right, Brandon Toy is a flat earther who tried to use, let's just say he tried to use the whole tank and the whole sugar water thing as a way to, I guess, push his flat earth narrative. It was some form of confirmation bias for other individuals. It's basically bullshit. And I wanted to basically show that. I wanted to show that he was pretty much being a lying piece of shit by repeating what he did. Okay? So yeah, here it is. 2.5 days later, the sugar is completely dissolved at the bottom. Our little floaty friends have reached their equilibrium, which means that where they sit, the water doesn't get it. The water gets even more dense, and they rest where they are. The ones that are floating with their heads that way, that's because they actually have little bubbles of air. They're no longer opaque because the material that they use kind of actually absorbs some of the water. So in reality, they could be just a little bit. If I just put fresh ones in there, they'll sit in a different level compared to these guys. Now, like I said, there's no sugar dissolved or no sugar left in the bottom, which is why you get that really awesome looking reflection. Something that was missing from Brandon Toy's sugar water test. In fact, his was extremely murky, and now I'm an asshole, and I wanted to make sure you guys could read this. So if you can read, what isn't blocked by the castle, then that means that your eyesight's doing pretty good. No, I'm just kidding. It means that the clarity of the water is still pretty clear. So even leaving it for days hasn't really changed anything, other than dissolving all the sugar. Now, considering that how murky and mucky Brandon's was, that allowed him to make certain assertions that he had to voice during the exchange that I had with him, or at least during the exchange at which he was during Jose's show. He had to blurt out as fast as possible his flat earth narrative, claiming that his castle, that when he lowers it down, the bottom looks obscured. Right? He goes to bait. He's like points at it. It's like, look. This is obstruction. Yada yada yada. The only thing is because it was extremely murky, and the design of his little castle. Right? When he lowered it down, and as the bottom portion of it gets starts to look a little compressed, it gives the illusion that things are being hidden. Right. Well, I put items in here that kind of remove that ability for me to create some kind of illusion. And by the way, if anybody wants to know, yes, it's water, it's not Jello. I know somebody's gonna go, "It's Jello. That's why things are floating in it." No, dumbasses. It's just water. Well, salt, sugar, and water. Okay, so we're going to. Now you can already. I want you to pay attention to this, to the mirrored portion. I think it's fucking cool. But you watch it, as you lower it, it's all stretchy and weird looking, right? You gotta admit that's neat. Anyway, but if we look towards the back there, you'll notice that, yeah, the castle does start to scrunch up at the bottom, and the bottom of the tank appears to rise. Okay, and you notice that line number 8 is distorted, number 7 is distorted, number 6 is distorted, number 5 is a little distorted, and if I raise up to my level right here, right about where the fish are, you'll notice that 2, 3, 4, 5, they're not, the 1 through 5, I'd say, or at least 1 through 4 especially, but 1 through 5, they're not really distorted. Once I start going below the level of the fish, you start noticing all the distortion. So 5, 6, 7, and 8 end up being distorted. Now, I noticed when I did previous shoots of this that the further you go back, right, and I'm going to roll all the way back here, right, you can still see it, but the effect is so much cooler. I'm going to go below the level of the counter, right about there, and you notice that you can still see, you still more or less see the bottom, and damn near everything. Well, you do see everything from the dice in front to the one in the middle, the D6, the D20. You see the top of the D6 because I'm more or less, I'm getting below. It's pretty close to the black band. But the D20, which is the orange die, if you're curious, and the actual glass sphere, the fish are visible still, obviously. And even the bottom of the castle, and including the bottom line, number 8, on the eye chart, is still there, if not all a little wonky. But that little guy's going to come in handy in a minute. You'll notice that the bottom of the tank is very much raised above the counter, even though you know full well it's sitting on the counter. Alright, so I'm going to move closer now. But you know what? I'm an asshole, and I like going a couple of steps further. Alright, so focus, goddammit. Alright. So, now this is a much higher angle, you can see right here. And you can see that the die on the left looks like it's lower than the die on the right. The reality is, of course, they're pretty much right next to each other. Alright. Now, let's see if I can do this and keep everything in frame. And if I lower it just enough, they sort of look like they're getting close to being on par with each other. But you'll notice an interesting thing starts happening with the die on the left. The closer I get to the counter, the closer I get to the surface of the counter, you notice that the die on the left not only rises up significantly, but begins to smoosh. All right, it begins to become compressed. All right, you can still see it. I like that even the reflection down there does the same thing. So I'm going to keep going, and yeah, I'm going to have to back off a little bit so you can see this. But there you go. There it is, right? It appears significantly higher, even though it is squished into almost oblivion, but it never really goes away. You can still kind of more or less read it. It says wizard. All right. Eventually it will get squashed. There's a word for it. It's not sinking. Well, it might be sinking, but anyway, you get the looming effect, obviously. But whenever it compresses like that, there's a name for it, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is. But yeah, There it is. By the way, if you haven't noticed, I am level with, right here, I'm level with the counter, and you can see just the significance of the fact that, yes, it's the back of the tank looks loomed a lot. Like, not a little, not like, oh, hey, it's just a little, no. Several times higher, right? Here's in line with the counter. You can see everything. And look, see, you still see the bottom of the fucking castle. The bottom of the, sorry, I guess I should make sure that the part that touches the glass, okay, where the little staircase is. So anyone who's like, the bottom of the castle is up there, no, I'm referring to the whole damn thing. The bottom of the damn aquarium decoration. Yeah, that right there is. This is more or less how his test should have gone. It should have been reasonably. The clarity should have been at least about this. There should have been no sugar at the bottom. He should have had some kind of reference points. He could have shown more than he did. He was able to make all kinds of claims based on absolute bullshit of his setup. He knew it was bullshit, and he still went with it. So, call it what you will. I call it fraud. Next time, Brandon, if you're gonna be a lying piece of shit, don't make it a lie that someone can disprove easily. You know, if you're gonna talk shit, if you're gonna say shit, you can make claims. It was this easy to destroy your little narrative. So no, you didn't show things disappearing from the bottom up. You didn't show anything. In fact, most of your footage was this murky, nasty bullshit. Oh, and just for shits and giggles, because you wanted to show the side profile and you want to show your yeah, there you go, dumbass. Is there any sugar at the bottom, Brandon? No, there isn't. But you know what's really cool? It does that. The warp in it, honestly, that shit looks cool. You can see look. Gotta admit, it's kind of cool. Anyway, but yes, this is what it's supposed to look like, Brandon, not the crap that you were trying to peddle. Anyway, I've been the Bear to Devil. Y'all have been awesome. I'll check y'all later. Bonus footage. As I was taking things out, I noticed something really cool. So I'm going to see if I can capture it.